All right, I'm giving you a recording, a mini lesson on key features of graphs. So this is going to be, driving home what you learned in increasing, decreasing, positive, negative, the video you just watched. So key features of graphs, I'm just going to touch on these things listed here, and behavior, there's more to come on that. So the x-intercept and y-intercept, you know or should know by now that the x-intercept is where a point, or the graph, crosses the x-axis. So in this case, 5, 0 is an ordered pair, or x equals 5. Your y-intercept would be 0, 4, or y equals 4. Maximum and minimum. Maximum is the highest point on the graph where it looks like a hill, where it changes direction. So if you're thinking of a maximum here, and you can think of a mountaintop. A mountaintop goes up and then down. So, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So relative maximum, the highest point, and then relative minimum, and this valley picture here doesn't look too good at that in there, but is the lowest, where the lowest point, that vertex, that ordered pair. So here you can see this point here is a maximum. It's where the highest point, it starts to change direction, is -2, 3. Sometimes it'll say what's the value of that, and you would use the y value of y equals 3, but we'll practice that down the road. Minimum, again, the ordered pair, 3, -3. So practice on this one right here, maximum and minimum, see what you get. Pause the video. All right, maximum, you should have gotten 0, 3, because that's where my mountaintop is. It changes directions right there. Minimum, you should have gotten 2, -1. The valley, the lowest point of my graph here where it changes direction. Because I'm not talking about lowest point and it keeps going. I'm talking about a change in direction here. So that's maximum and minimum. Slope, just real quickly, positive, the graph increases from left to right. So if you're reading this graph left to right, the graph is going up. And remember, it is rise over run, the change in y over the change in x. Negative, the graph decreases from left to right. So this is what the video showed you about increasing values. Remember, you're reading from left to right. If you're seeing my pointer here, as you read it from left to right, it goes up. My pointer's going up. Here it starts to change direction. So my increasing interval would be, we'll just call this 1, 2, 3 to 4. 1 to 4. And that is my increasing. That's where it's increasing at. Decreasing starts from 4. And it's going to continue, actually these are arrows, so it should be to infinity. So increasing, let me fix that. First thing I see is an arrow is negative infinity to 4. Practice what is the increasing intervals for this graph here. Pause the video and come up with it. Alright, I'm trying to see if I can get any typing on here and I don't see it, so I am going to go back and just do the interval here. Alright, so on your practice, if you pause the video, you could see that your increasing interval, if I'm tracing this graph, I go down. Right here is where it started to change its direction, so -3 to 0, where it starts to go down again, and then or it starts again at 2 and goes to infinity. So there's your increasing values. Your decreasing, again, left to right, and again we're assuming they're arrows here, so -infinity, and then, sorry that's blocking it, but that is a -3, and then 0 to 2. Notice I am not including the x values because notice that I have 2 here and 2 here, so that is the changing point where it goes from increasing to decreasing or vice versa. Alright, so the last thing on this video I want to talk about is positive values and negative values. So if you think about the ocean, okay, you got your x value here in red here, the line, the x-axis. Positive values are any part of the graph that is above here in the sand here in the sky. Negative values are below the x-axis, so I just want to say underwater. So positive intervals. So it is an interval where the function is positive occur when the function is above the x-axis. So this you can see is shaded off right here. That interval is negative infinity to 1. It starts to go below the x-axis here. So your negative values, it's below, so it starts to go below the water line or below the x-axis from 1 to infinity. So that's how positive and negative values work. So I'm going to stop the video here and take part 2 coming up real quick.